Hello and welcome to the My School at Kent video that's going to tell you about how to proctor student tests. My name is Douglas Hicks and I teach the social studies courses, and I want to go through this very briefly with you. Once you log into your mentor account, um, what you're going to want to do is look for the gradebook or look for the course that the student is in. Now, I'm in a teacher account here. It's going to be a little different than your mentor account. But nonetheless, you want to navigate, and you'll probably have a menu button like they have up here. If you click menu and go into gradebook, it should kick you into this page here with some drop down arrows. And as you see, I can switch from teacher to mentor. I don't have any classes in the mentor part, so I will show you from a teacher side, but it should be very similar. So again, under select classroom, we're going to assume this student, for simplicity's sake, is in business applications. So you'll scroll down to business applications, and it should load you right into the course. Now what you're going to notice here is this. Right here is this summary tab with a down arrow. It's going to list all of the units, and what you have to notice here is the summary page. So starts out, it drops you right into the summary page. Within the summary page, you can kind of see overviews on units. You can see, as far as quality of work's concerned, grade to date, overall percentage. But for proctoring purposes, what you're going to want to do is actually click the student's name right here. And what's going to pop up here in a minute is an activity report. And the reason this is important is you can kind of get a layout of the entire course, and we're going to see in a minute here why this is important. So when you click their page here, a page should pop up like you see here. So a student comes to you, and you're off-site and you're a mentor and you want to proctor a test, and says, hey, I'm in business applications and I want to take test 1. So what are some things you're going to look for? So then we're going to do this one more time. I'm going to close out of this tab. I'm actually going to go to the home page. And the student tells you again you're going to take business applications. You go to the gradebook. And the classroom you're going to select is business applications. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to actually click on this. And the reason is you want to look to see if they have all the work done within that unit. So the student said they're taking the Unit 1 test. As you can see, they took the quizzes. There was a practice here that needed to be completed, and that was done. Now again, what you want to notice is it might not be graded. There might be actually like a stamp that says submitted, but you want to check for that. You're also going to want to check to see if this other practice has been submitted or graded. In both these instances, these assignments have been graded and put into the gradebook. They are actually at the Unit 1 test, which is a CST, which is a computer scored test. Some of the units are going to have what we call TSTs, which are teacher scored tests. But this student checks out, all the quizzes are done, all the practice materials done, any journals that might be in there are done, explore activities. So they are actually up to the test. So when you close out of that up here, you'll go back into the page. And you can't do much from this what we call summary page. So they said they have to take the Unit 1 test. You will click this and go into Unit 1. And what happens is you kind of go across here, and you can see right here it says CST, as in computer scored tests. So the first thing you want to do is you want to check the date, and you just roll your mouse over this little calendar box and it will say a date. A student can not access a test unless it's within 3 days of this date. Now, if it isn't within 3 days of this date, you have the authority to go in and change that date right in here. You can actually change the date and save it. In this instance, we are 2 days away. It's the 28th of August, and it says the 30th, this test is what we would call due. So it's within that 3-day, what you would call period, or that 3-day window. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unlock the test. So right here is a little lock button. You just click it. It'll kind of unlock it. And the important part, what people forget to do, is you have to click save. Once you save that, a student should have access to that test. If they do go into the test and they say they do not have access, chances are the date is not correct. It's not within that 3-day period. So you'll want to go in there and change the date. So you might click that and you might go, all right, well, I'm going to put it to the 28th, and you're going to save it. Once the student takes the test, and I'm just going to manually put a score in here, say it's 45, and a score should pop up once they take the test. When they start the test, it'll say in progress. and when they finish, a score should pop up. But anyways, once the test is over, it's very important you go back in and you actually lock the test and save. So again, and it takes a moment to save, but you'll lock and save. It's also important to note that they get 2 attempts on the test. If they take the first attempt and they don't pass, the student will be able to actually go in and reset the test themselves. There's a reset tab. And the key is when they're in the middle of a second attempt, it'll say again, in progress. You want to make sure that a student fully completes a test all the way through. A lot of students will start a second attempt and try to leave, say, the testing center or a proctor testing area, and it will still say in progress. The key is to get them back and to finish that test. If they do leave by accident per se, go back in and again lock that test. It'll lock them into that location. So it's very important to ask the student, did you finish your first attempt, or if you did a second attempt, did you completely finish that second attempt? Once they finish the test, if they pass the test with a 60 or higher or 70 or higher, depending on the threshold, it will grant them access to Unit 2. If they don't pass, let's see what it looks like. So let's manually put a score in. If they don't pass, let's say they get 22 out of 60. You'll see the box will turn red, okay? And they won't be able to move on to Unit 2, okay? The arrow is actually open. If you push that arrow and make it solid, it will give them access to Unit 2. We recommend you don't give them access if they don't pass the test. I recommend again that they contact the teacher, and the teacher decide if they should move on. Again, if it's your district's policy to move them on, then you guys feel free to do that. But again, that's solid. If they don't pass the test at 60 or higher or 70 or higher, depending on the threshold, you will want to push that arrow button, save it, so they have access to Unit 2. So that's kind of how the cookie crumbles here with testing. There's a lot of kind of little things that can happen, but again, just to run it down very briefly here, make sure the date is within 3 days. Make sure you unlock the test and lock it back up once they're finished, even if they pass. And again, if they don't pass, again, you have to make a decision. Is it the district's decision to move them on to Unit 2, or is the district going to let the teacher of the course, of the online course, decide? That's really up to you. But again, this arrow here that's solid grants them access into that next unit. An arrow that would be open would keep them in that same unit. You can see once you do something, this button goes from save, will kind of change. So again, everything you do, you'll have to save. You'll see what happens if I unclick this button and try to move into, say, the summary page. It's going to ask me, you'll see up here, it'll say, do you want to do this? Stuff will be lost. So again, that kind of gives you a little warning. It's kind of a red flag, if you will. So that's again how the proctoring of tests work. All exams, you'll see, will be mainly computer exams, unless it's a music test or an art test. Spanish, again, would include written tests as well. But again, you can navigate throughout units. You'll see through 6 here. You'll see again, same deal. You can kind of hover your mouse over dates. And again, one last thing before I exit this video here is, again, when you click on the student's name, you'll notice as well, if you're mentoring, there's due dates, there's a start date, and then it always goes to an end date. We recommend you cascade these courses. And again, to do that, I'll briefly do that. To cascade, or to throw the dates across the entire units, that's pretty simple. You go into Unit 1, you'll click the first assignment where the calendar is right here. You'll select a date and say it's going to be the 19th. You'll click the bottom here, Cascade Due Dates, and then set a date that you want it to end. Okay, and maybe you want it to end October 31st. And the important part, again, is to save. And the system will spread these dates out and as you see, I'll open up this course page here. It'll spread the dates out from August 19th, you can see in the top here, all the way down to October 31st. So I hope this video helps you understand how to proctor tests, change dates, and what have you.